Hello, everybody. This is Narada Rishi Raja with expeditiousfool.com, where we remove the obstacles by focusing on our DMP each and every day. And today I want to talk about something. And if you understand this, it'll set you on the right track to gaining a lot of momentum. The worst offense one can commit against God. Right? The biggest sin. The original sin, you could say. So before we can understand this, we have to properly understand the word sin. So when someone understands this word properly, it switches all of the faiths that use the word sin kind of on its head. Sin is an archery term. Always has been. It means to miss the mark. When we look at the Yoga Sutras, the reason for all suffering, the number one klesha, as they call it, that adds to the other kleshas, the other reasons for suffering, is ignorance. Missing the mark. So every time that you have seen the word sin, and everything that you have seen classified as sin, it's not this big old punishment game. No, we punish ourselves. That's the reality. And that's what I'm trying to get through to folks. We punish ourselves by having this original sin happen that I'm going to talk about. So every time you see sin, it means that you've missed the mark. Every time that you sin, it means that you've missed the mark. Doesn't mean that you're evil. No. It means that you're not understanding yet. Doesn't mean that, you have to be eradicated. No. It means you don't understand yet. Now, where the situation comes is if we start attacking people because we don't understand, right? That's further not understanding. And if we stay in that mode, then we'll keep making choices and decisions based off of pattern thoughts that start creating. And then we can't get out. So we don't feel the full experience of joy and bliss in the world because we can't get out of our sin then, out of missing the mark, out of our ignorance. So there's one thing that takes care of it all. The biggest offense that anyone can commit against God, it's thinking that you're not God. That's the ignorance. That's the ignorance where all suffering comes from. Now, we have to be careful when we say that, which is why even in my particular school of thought, there's people that resist telling people that they are God. They tell you to go find self-realization, right? They don't tell you that because people could misunderstand that. People could be like, I'm God. That means I can do whatever I want. That's a different form of ignorance, right? That would have to be corrected. Essentially, if you think about it, when you realize you're God, everything else is God. Well, that doesn't make you special anymore. But the other thing is if you're aware that you're God, and everything else is God, but everything else isn't quite aware that it's God, that means you have accountability. That means you have responsibility. That means you have to take up a whole lot more than most of the things around you are taking up for. Why? Because they don't realize what their job is yet. That's it. The biggest offense you can commit is just not realizing what your job is yet. Your job is to be God's hand.